Text message from Matt Morosi. Hey, Dane, you and Mike still have not done Uncharted. If you don't record and say really, 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 really nice things about the movie, I have to give back the money Sony gave me, and I'm not coming to the wedding. I guess Matt's not coming to the wedding. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this month's edition of the Nerd Enthusiast Movie Podcast. I am your host, Dane. I'm here with my buddy, Mike.
Howdy.
Hi. We are here to talk about the new Uncharted movie that came out recently, about a week ago. We're going to talk about the movie, give our impressions a little bit. Before we start that, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. If you are not subscribing, don't know why you wouldn't be, click. You can find us on YouTube. Nerdenthusiast.com has a bunch more blog stuff going up right now. We have new people that are getting involved in definitely comic books, but also toys. If you're a big fan of toys, check us out on TikTok. A new one just went up 30 seconds ago. And we're on Twitter and we're on Instagram and we are on YouTube where you're following us. But check out nerdenthusiast.com and please subscribe and like us everywhere you find us. Now, we're talking about the new Uncharted movie, which is made by Sony, which is basically a big advertisement for the Uncharted series. Let me ask you first. Yeah, go ahead.
I said, let me right off the bat. Does this movie feel like Uncharted?
No.
I didn't think so either. I thought that right from the onset. No. Other than like the clothing, I don't know that you could even designate it as an Uncharted movie. Does that make sense? I don't know.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I know what you mean. Yeah. I mean, the characters were in it, I guess.
The names were.
Yeah. No, and lack of mustaches aside.
And look, I love Tom Holland. I enjoy Mark Wahlberg for what he is. Can we just say though that Mark Wahlberg was like literally playing himself in this movie? Like he does a great job playing Mark Wahlberg. like he's not Sully. He's just not Sully. I don't even know the video games that well. I played all of them and I enjoyed them. Right. I'm not like a diehard. I don't know if you are an Uncharted diehard.
I do like the diehard series. I do like John McClane was really good in this movie.
Much better than this one, probably.
I do like the Uncharted games a lot. Actually, I've played a couple of them a couple times. Uncharted 4 is probably one of my favorite games.
It's excellent. Absolutely.
Isn't it really good?
Beautiful.
It's got one of my favorite moments in video gaming when you're driving the Jeep and you're going down the hill and then you got to get on the thing, you got to do the thing, and then you got to do the thing, and then the thing is after you, and then you got to shoot the thing, and then you get it, and then you ride the thing away. That's one of my favorite things in the whole world.
And this movie tries to do that with like ships and shit and such unrealistic like physics and helicopters moving pirate ships around, and that one cargo sequence is literally like ripped from the third game, right? It's the third game, even though they're over a desert in the third game, and they're not in a desert. You know what I mean? But just the whole time with this movie, I was like, how is this so boring?
How is this? My girl fell asleep in the theater a couple times. She's like, "Would you be upset at me if I told you?" I'm like, no, it wasn't good.
How is this movie that's supposed to be like this grand swashbuckling adventure so boring? How come? Is it because it's everything we've already seen? Like, it's nothing new, so it lulls us to sleep in that regard. I don't know.
So much of it, if you know the games, is just ripped almost identical from the games.
Absolutely.
And it's like a hodgepodge of the games. A lot of the fourth one.
Yes.
Very little of the first one, some of the third one. But it pulled like
pieces of each game into one movie, which probably wasn't ideal. Might have been better to focus on, one game or two and just expand on that story. Right. There's clearly a franchise in mind though for this. If you saw the extra scene, or is there two? There's two scenes, right?
There's two scenes, yeah. The mustache.
With mustache.
With mustache.
What did you do to your face? But don't worry, puberty's right around the corner for you, son. It's like, okay, you're held at gunpoint, and they're like throwing like bad one-liners at each other. Like,
you know, it didn't help too with that whole dynamic of the Nate and Sully thing in the movie. Mark Wahlberg looks like he's like almost the same age as.
That's what I was gonna say.
You know
like,
what I mean?
Sully always has to look kind of like a father figure to
Right.
Nate. He almost is like he's almost like 20 years older than him, like throughout the series. And here he could pass for like 5 years older. You know, he's like,
Yeah.
he's like, it doesn't. You're right. It doesn't really work. The relationship doesn't have that same feeling because it's like two young guys just busting each other's balls through the whole movie.
Right.
That's all
you
it is.
forget that Mark Wahlberg's like 50.
He is. I mean, he's in good shape.
Tom Holland's 25 or not even 30 years old.
On paper, it should be more of that relationship. But yeah, they act similarly in age. But you could have cast a lot of other people. I mean, I know Bryan Cranston was up at one point for the role, and he probably would have fit in there pretty nicely, I think. But yeah, this film.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the pickpocketing in this film?
The what?
The pickpocketing in this film.
The pickpocketing, right?
It's ridiculous. At every turn, it's a camera trick too, because half the time you don't even see people picking pockets. At every turn in this movie, somebody's getting their pocket picked from like feet away. It's like somehow the characters are across from each other and like they're getting their pockets picked, like or they're getting a bag removed, or at the end the necklace, the extra scene, even the necklace gets removed. He doesn't even grab any of this stuff, and it's like, I got it. It's like such a bad, like, there's never an insert of like a hand grabbing something. It's just like they're 6 feet apart. And then the next shot is the person going, where's my bag? It's like, why?
It seemed like that the movie was trying to be not even Indiana Jones as much as it seemed like it was trying to be the Mummy, the first Mummy movie, and it did not do it. You know, like if you go back and if you watch that first Mummy movie, it's fun. The characters are, you know, bullshitting with each other. But there's also that moments where it's like they have the object and the object is in the book, and then they do it, and then they do that and everything. In this movie, I just wanted them just be like, stop it with all the keys and the crosses.
With all the gobbledygooks.
Right. And it's just like
there's too much of it. There's too much
I know.
of it.
It's like Nate, I can't do it. It's like, well, what if, and in like his mind's eye, he can figure the whole thing out. What if you turn this that way clockwise, but then you do this? What do you think? And for some reason, Nathan Drake has a New York accent in the movie. like you know, aside from his own accent, that's the one accent Tom Holland can do because he's been Spider-Man for so long. He's like, I'll just give him a New York accent.
He has to
Nathan Drake doesn't have a New York accent.
You're right, he doesn't. Where's Nathan Drake originally from? Do we know?
I don't know.
Not from New York, though.
I think is from Boston. Nolan North. Not Nolan North. Yeah, Nolan North.
He's in the movie.
Right? Yes, he is. I enjoyed that.
That was cool.
Was cringy,
that was a cool nod. I liked it. I was like,
right.
He deserves that. He deserves to play the character if he was younger.
Sure, I think so.
He's like, something like that happened to me that time. I was like, yes, it did.
Yes,
and it was far better.
Yeah, it was much better than his bullshit. Of course, at the time, it's gonna be pervy, but it's okay. Right at that time, he was like, well, yeah, because it was after the plant and they came out of the water, and she had a white T-shirt on. I was stimulating for about a moment, and then the rest of the movie continued.
So what do we think about Tom Holland as Nathan Drake?
Tom Holland sucked as Nathan Drake. I mean, am I right or wrong, rather? Like,
here's the thing. Like, Tom Holland's charming. He's entertaining. He's a great actor. Sure. He could do the one accent at least. That's not, you know, from his native country. But you're right. He doesn't work. I don't think he works quite right as Nathan Drake. Because the other part of, for me, Nathan Drake has to be like, I hate to use the word like, Tom Holland just didn't seem, I hate to even say this, like manly enough in this. They're like rugged. You know what I mean? Like Nathan Drake is more of a rugged character, like rough and tumble. Like Tom Holland's like way too clean in this movie for some reason. You know what I mean? It just didn't, I had even a hard time believing Tom Holland would even be a bartender. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't even like picture that. Like when he's doing that bartending sequence, I'm just like, he's not a bartender. Like he just doesn't even fit in that role. You know what I mean? So it didn't feel like Nathan Drake. It just felt like somebody, it just felt more like Spider-Man, Peter Parker playing
Right.
Nathan Drake. It felt like Peter Parker playing Nathan Drake,
Right.
which I think you have to put somebody a little bit older in there. That's all. I know they're trying to do a franchise out of this. I get it. I just think you needed somebody a little bit older to play to carry that character a little more convincingly.
Well, here's what I think happened. What I think happened was, and this is from reading things and watching interviews.
Mark Wahlberg
So
was supposed to be.
Mark Wahlberg was supposed
Nathan
to play
Drake.
Nathan Drake, and then he aged out of it because it's 15 years ago.
That's a good
Drake's Uncharted, Drake's Fortune, Fortune Drake, whatever it's called. So, and then because Mark Wahlberg before that had such a really good track record as playing video game characters, Max Payne, of course.
Max Payne, that gem,
great movie, that gem of a movie
that made so much money. I'm sure.
Right.
That box office
he
blockbuster.
signed on to be Nathan Drake, and then
this was back in like 2009 that this movie was first. Wow, I forgot how long ago this was. Holy cow!
And then Spider-Man, and then Tom Holland becomes Spider-Man. And then from what I understand, he tried to pitch the idea of him being a young James Bond. And then because Sony owns all this shit, they said, well, we have Uncharted. Marky Mark is attached to it. We have Tom Holland. Do it. And they're like, well, who could Tom Holland play and who could Marky Mark play?
And somebody was like, ding. Somebody was like, ding.
Right. You know who that someone was? Ruben Flesher. The guy that made 2 really good movies and a suck movie.
You know what's crazy? Was there like 6 different directors attached to this movie at one point?
Yeah, there was. What's his name was going to do it? Your boy. That did 3 Kings.
Yes, and David O. Russell.
David O. Russell. Yeah,
David O. Russell. The first, I think he was years ago because he's buddies with Wahlberg. So which makes sense. And that would have been interesting to see his take on the movie. Honestly. Yeah. He's a very competent director. Yeah, and that's why it's weird though, because like they approached Naughty Dog approached Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg to write a script for this film, and they turned it down. They said, no, it's just another Indiana Jones. We don't want to make it. And then you've got was it Joe Carnahan, Sean Levy? I'm going through the list here. Dan Trachtenberg was attached. Travis Knight, and then January 20th was Ruben Fleischer, but Jesus, like I don't know. It doesn't bode well when a project takes, I know this happens sometimes, but when a project takes this long to get off the ground, here's the other thing. The games are perfectly competent movies as themselves. That's the other issue. Like they tell better, more concise and interesting stories than this movie could have done.
Without a doubt. And that's why I think it's going to be tough. The next Naughty Dog thing that's coming out is Last of Us. That's why, like, my girl hasn't played the games, and so she's excited to watch it because she knows that I like it. But I don't know how excited I am to watch that, because to tell me the story of something that I am in control of and is told in a very cinematic way anyway.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, it's why to me, like, the Resident Evil games why the Resident Evil movies don't work. Right. Because they're told in a cinematic way, and then when you pull everything out of it and try to put it back together with live action new characters, and it's all fucking CG anyway. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
it just doesn't make sense. And
it really doesn't.
These games were already so cinematic, especially like you're saying, the fourth one is it's near perfect in terms of animation and gameplay combination of what you're like. It's seamless. You're going from gameplay to movie back and forth, and you don't know the difference. Like, it just transitions so well, especially with next gen now, with like Last of Us, same thing. You don't need a movie of it. I already am seeing the full story as well as it needs to be told right there in the game. I know it's another way to cash out because, this movie did make money. It cost 120, it made 230.
Yeah, but
so it made 100 million.
Like $50 million in the first 4 days it was out, so it'll definitely make a bunch of money.
They're probably going to make another one for that reason. But it's just like, it doesn't need to be made. But
you know what I think burns about it the most is a company like Naughty Dog, who seems to be really like, they've made, in hindsight, they've made 5 Uncharted games over the course of like 15 years. But they don't do anything half-assed.
No, absolutely not.
Like we were talking about this before we started. Like everything that they do is good. And so when they're like, we're going to make an Uncharted movie, it's like, we know it's going to suck. And you don't have to. They make more money on the games anyway.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, just give me another Nathan Drake game, even though we really shouldn't have one. But
yeah, that's true. Did this movie make you want to play the games again?
No, because I'm still not done Last of Us 2, even though I'm almost done it.
I think that's a problem though, because like I feel like a really good movie can inspire you to go check out other media and things attached to it. You know what I mean? Like a good movie will do that. We'll be like, oh, I want to see how this connects, and I want to, because this is supposed to be a prequel to the games, but it's not because it steals from all the games. Yeah. And so
there are 3 other main characters in this movie that we haven't talked about yet. Sophie Alley plays Chloe Fraser, who is probably the most like the video game characters of all of the characters.
I can agree with that. Yep, I can agree with that.
She looks like him.
She does.
That was pretty much as far as it went.
She betrays the characters
all the time. Right.
Which is like the backstabbing, I guess. I get it's like the core apparently of Uncharted. It's just like everyone must backstab each other. And there is a lot of that in the game.
No honor among thieves, they say, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think she pulls that off very well. She's fun to watch. She's not the problem with this movie.
No, she definitely wasn't the problem in the movie. She definitely wasn't.
Antonio Banderas.
Antonio Banderas. Okay, yeah. So Antonio Banderas.
So he's the villain, but he's not the villain.
He's not the villain. He is the villain.
He's not the real villain.
Still bad guy.
He's the side villain. Because there's another Braddock, right? Is the real villain. Right?
Yes. Now Santiago Moncada kills his father, who Antonio Banderas is like 65 or 70 years old, isn't he? So his father's got to be like 100.
Should he get over this by now?
Right?
Hello, my name is Santiago Moncada.
Filthy, right?
You killed my father. Prepare to die.
I killed my father. He was
you're right.
He was cashing a paycheck for this movie.
He's like, just don't make me the main villain. Just make somebody else the main.
Make
somebody else the main bad person. I'm tired of doing this shit, guys. I'm not an action hero anymore.
The only interesting thing about him was the car that he had.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know much about that.
That's a good point.
Right? His car, because I know cars. I don't know if you know much about that car, but that car is a 300 SL, the old school Mercedes. That car has 2 famous things for it. One, I'm pretty sure it was the first gull-wing door car.
Your Mercedes.
Production car. I do. Production.
Your Mercedes.
And I think at the time it was the fastest car, probably production car.
That's interesting.
So I'm pretty sure it was the first gull-wing car, and I'm pretty sure it was the fastest production car.
That's more interesting than most of this movie. Right there.
That's right.
The car is a more interesting character than most of this movie. Unfortunately, that's truth right now. Yeah, it's just too safe. It's just too safe.
Yeah, it is.
It's just.
And if anything, it doesn't. It pulls so many interesting and good things from the games, specifically the 4th game, which to me is the best, without a doubt, because it fleshes out so much about the characters and the backstory, and Sam is in it for like 2 seconds, and then just kind of just dumbs it all down
you're right.
much.
Yeah, you're right.
So much.
I guess if you have no attachment or interest and have no history with Uncharted, you might get a little more mileage out of this movie, because it's like, oh, this is Uncharted now. I knew nothing about it. I never played a game. Interesting. Or it's a terrible entry, because then you're like, wow, Uncharted isn't really that fun or exciting. I don't know. I don't know how you perceive it.
I don't know why people like these games.
Because your fiance fell asleep. So that's not a good, it's not a good, clearly not a good entry.
She used to like me watching me to play the games, because it was cinematic. You
My
know
wife's
what I
the same
mean?
way. She loves watching me play Uncharted or Last of Us or any of those, or any
Right.
Naughty Dog game really, because they
Right.
are so well done.
Right.
So yeah, maybe
If anything, you
wasn't
know
a
what
good
I would
entry.
rather have watched? An absolute. I would rather have watched $120 million CGI
I would not be opposed to that either.
movie
I would not be
with
opposed to that either.
Nolan North and uh, Troy Baker and all the and the rest from the games. You know
Because
what I mean?
and like you're saying, because Naughty Dog they're so precise with their games that I think given the opportunity to oversee something like that,
Right.
it would have been done. It would have been done properly or tastefully. You know.
Well, it's kind of telling that the reason why this movie took so long is because it was just in development hell between Sony wanting to call the shots with everything and then um, attaching actors that they couldn't buy out and they had to use, and then they
Right.
have Tom Holland, so they're just putting them into these movies, and it's just like this was absolutely a movie by committee, without a doubt. But that's what's going to be interesting, I think, to me with the Last of Us movie, the show,
Series, yeah.
because they're stretching it out so they can tell tons and tons of story. Um, Pedro Pascal is the Mandalorian, and he's been in a handful of movies, but he's not Tom Holland and
That's
Marky
true.
Mark.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's
The
not
girl
as
playing Ellie.
recognizable. Yeah.
Right. So that's not what they're using to sell
Yeah.
the movie. They are
Plus it's HBO too,
right.
and they are pretty good at telling stories. Pretty good.
It's pretty good. They have a tendency to shit the bed right at the end.
Was that HBO or was that the
No, HBO paid
DB
them.
or was that Weiss and Benoff, whatever? Is that the two boys that they had hired?
I think that they were getting excited for Star Wars, and then
I think so too. I think they said, forget this project. We got something bigger to deal with. And then Disney said, no, you failed your last paper. So,
right.
So you're gone.
That's right.
Your last presentation sucked, so you're out.
That's right. You're cut from the team.
So here's the other thing. Interestingly enough, Mark Wahlberg was only signed on for one film. Does he even come back for the next film? Or do you just replace him?
Yes, he comes back because that man does so much for a paycheck that he's doing it. Okay, that's why he's been attached for 10 years for this movie, because he knows it's going to make
he's not giving
money.
up. Yeah, he's not
right.
giving up on
and I don't fault him for that, other than truly, there was no reason for him to be Sully. There wasn't, other than probably a contractual obligation by Sony. That's my guess.
We just need another Max Payne. That's what we need.
No, we don't. Not that. No, just give me another Max Payne game. I've played Max Payne 3 recently, and it's not bad. It ain't great. But it's not.
No,
bad.
I agree. I'd take a game over another movie.
And the games make so much money anyway. Like it's not like they're making these movies in order to cash in on a small IP that they can blow up into a big movie franchise. It's like these games make $1 billion. You know what I mean?
True.
It would be something as stupid as like making a GTA movie right now. Like, why would you do that when you could just make another GTA game?
Very good point. This is the case of a film that can just be seen at home. Same day release.
Yes.
This is a perfect scenario for it. And I am very much a proponent of going to the theater and seeing a film. We know this. Mm-hmm. But in this case of this film, this is perfectly acceptable for like an HBO Max, a Netflix, same day release. Perfectly fine for this type of experience. Yes, there's some big action sequences in it, sure. But overall, your home theater system, probably sufficient for this film.
Yeah, it would suffice.
More than suffice for this film, That's I think what the ranking is going to be.
Well, it's something.
Do I need to leave my couch to watch this film?
Yeah, right.
You can watch this one on your cell phone if you want.
Right.
While you're playing a game, you can just have this on your cell phone near the computer and let it just
play while you're playing the Uncharted game. Just if you're a Tom Holland fan, just put it in the corner.
See,
and every now and then, when Nathan Drake says "oh crap" and he says "oh crap" in this movie, you're like,
"oh crap!" Oh, is that "oh crap! Oh crap! Oh shit! Oh crap! Oh crap! Oh crap!" There's so much of that ADR. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I know.
Oh crap! Oh crap! Oh my God. Poor Tom. And he's in a booth just saying, "Oh crap," one more time. "Oh crap," a little bit more excited. "Oh crap," two more times. "Oh crap, oh crap." Just, would love to see the recording of that.
I know. All right, so we shall wrap it up. Unfortunately, Matt's not getting his money. Matt has to give his money back for this one because this was a dud.
Well, better
Unfortunately.
luck next time.
Yeah, well, there will be a next time, I'm sure. We'll have to sit through it, but it's all right. Next one's Batman. Listen,
I know.
if you want to see, apparently it doesn't suck either.
Maybe we're in for a treat. We'll have we'll have a positive show.
Maybe
next go around.
It depends on what they do with the Riddler and whether or not the Penguin, also voiced by Nolan North in the games. I'm worried about the. We'll talk about it.
Nerdthusiast is all like positive on it already. And I'm like, wait until Dane and I see it.
Yes, hold on now.
Pump the brakes. You guys are getting way too excited about this. Wait till we see it. And they're like, no, you'll see. There's no way you're gonna dislike this. I was like,
hold on.
Don't say it.
Right.
Wait till we watch it.
We'll pull up the thread. We'll find it. There it is.
I don't criticize the movies. I just, point out the shortcomings.
Right. And I don't know if any. What I know that somebody out there, the new Uncharted movie is their favorite movie ever in history. They're a little slow.
That's not nice.
I know. Well, but they're,
You're allowed to like whatever you want.
I know, it's true.
You have your guilty pleasures too. The Pest, right?
What's that?
The Pest. That one of your guilty pleasures?
Yeah, okay. Pest is a better movie than this. What are you talking about? The Pest. I would put the Pest. If it was like, which one do you want to watch? Like, fire up the Pest. And if you haven't seen the Pest, watch it. That was the whole reason for making this episode. Had nothing to do with the movie. Simply to plug a 25-year-old John Leguizamo movie.
And cut to a clip of the Pest. All right, good, because I gotta go to class.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, all right. And on that note, thank you for watching this episode of the Nerdthusiast Movie Podcast. Like and subscribe all of our stuff. Go to nerdthusiast.com. This has been Mike.
And this has been Dane.
All right.
And that's been Dane.
And this has been Dane. Goodbye.